Hello and welcome. I am Mara Cepeda. This is Rappler Talk. We are here today with the new Majority Leader of the House of Representatives, Camarines Sur 1st District Representative Rolando Andaya. Hello, sir. Welcome to Rappler. Okay, sir, I'll just dive right into my questions. You practically grew up in the House of Representatives as a politician.
Yes. Been here since 1998.
In 1998. So how different is the House of Representatives now compared to 1998 when you were still a young lawmaker?
There's a little bit of change in terms of debate. There were a lot more debates at that time, more eloquent members, deeper analysis of issues. Well, now kasi marami ng bago eh, marami mga bata. Just like when I entered, kami rin yung mga bago. But at that time, we were forced to really engage the elders in debate. We were the first generation of yung mga anak ng mga politiko na when the constitutional limit first kicked in, we were the first batch of replacements of our fathers or mothers who were members of Congress for such a long time. So kami yung pumalit. And we were forced to really learn. Hindi OJT, talagang kumbaga tinapong ka talaga sa dagat to learn. I wish the new members would do that also and try to engage us and learn the art of debate and parliamentary procedures. Sometimes ngayon I see there's some deviation in the rules. But just the same, ganon din eh. Anything can happen. You could be leader today and be at the other side tomorrow. Ang clear lang dito, everyone is say friends with each other. We may change political sides, we may change sides being majority, minority, but in the end of the day, magkakaibigan pa rin yan eh. So, yung pagpili dito ng mga leaders, well, of course, yung stature mo would count, your experience mo would count, but in the end, politics lang to eh. And there are certain rules that have to be followed, not necessarily yung closeness mo would count.
Sir, now that you are majority leader, how do you plan to encourage your colleagues to go back to the time when there's much debate, and how are you going to force debates on the floor?
Well, yung issue na minority, that could have been settled last week very easily. But we decided, para mabago naman, let everyone talk, air their side, give them a chance to share the limelight with them, and I think it worked. Yung mga nagsalita doon are now household names, and but it also comes a time now we have to finish the debate, and we already did that. But I told them that personally, I told the members, this is the Congress which I envision to be. Full-blown debates, very little time limit, you have all the leeway to say everything. And that's good. Deliberative body naman talaga kami. And besides, Congress in plenary is actually Congress in exhibition. The real work is done in the committee. Congress at work sa committee level yan. Dito, exhibition tayo when it comes to plenary. And we plan to give them the stage. There were times na personally I wanted to butt in or debate my members, but hindi na pwede. We have to give it to the other members for them to shine naman.
Kong Andaya, the hottest issue right now in the House is of course the issue of the minority leadership of Congressman Danilo Suarez, and you were the one who moved to finally recognize him, and it put an end to the 2 weeks of debate. Is this unprecedented, sir, that the minority leader moved to oust the sitting speaker, and he also voted in favor of the other congressman or congresswoman in this case to replace?
No. This has been, in my experience, my almost 20 years of experience here, this is the second time it happened. Actually, the third time it happened. Prior to this, it happened 1999 during my first term. And then in the 14th Congress, I think sometime around 2005, when Speaker De Venecia was replaced by Speaker Nograles. is very or identical to the situation. Only the speaker was removed. All other officers below remained. The minority leader was still the minority leader. You had members then of the minority voting for the change of speakership, but still remained in the minority. So you had members there from the majority voting against the change of leadership. Natalo sila, nagkaroon ng change of leadership, but still remained with the majority. So may precedent na to, and this is the third time na nangyari to. So unfortunately, a lot of those members that expressed their views last night, Congressman De Vera, Congressman Kimbo, Congressman Bordado, Congressman Erice, were not members of the 14th Congress. So there's no way for them to know na nangyari na pala to ilang beses. And it is not a unique situation. May precedent na rito. And of course, the precedents and past practices of the House always form part of our rules. And the present handbook now does not envision a situation where the change of leadership is only at the top level, the speakership lang. I don't think any speaker in the right mind will include such rules on how he or she can be replaced in the rules of the House. That will always be kept silent. Luckily, we have past events to justify and give legality to the acts of the plenary.
Sir, in your experience, were past minority leaders who voted in favor of the new speaker, were they still able to uphold the checks and balances in the House? Because that seems to be one of the criticisms against Congressman Suarez right now, that because he did not only campaign for Speaker Arroyo, he's also known as an ally of the Speaker for the longest time. Baka po hindi niya magampanan yung role bilang checks and balances dito sa Kamara.
I never heard of a rule in which friendship or closeness to the speaker is an exception to the rule or bars you from running for being a fiscalizer or a minority leader. I think that's a non-issue. But we are lucky now that kung maganda may isang minority para magkaroon ng checks and balance, how much more kung may tatlo ka pa? Let's just call them non-majority groups. There are 3 groups. And di ba mas maganda yun? We'll come up with better quality legislation. You have 3 other kumbaga, sets of eyes reviewing the things that the administration is doing. So I think we're in a healthier position now in terms of the House of Representatives.
Sir, let's go to Speaker Arroyo. You've worked with her as her budget secretary before. Now, if a young lawmaker will approach you and ask you for advice on how to approach the speaker, what advice would you give him or her?
Well, if you are to ask her a question or seek her advice, make sure you know all the details of what you're approaching her. Huwag ka pumasok sa kanya na hindi planado. You should be knowledgeable or well-read at least on the topic you want to discuss with her. She's very sharp, very quick, and very hardworking. So, being that yung character niya, so she has very little time to, para beating around the bush for formalities. She'd rather you say straight kung ano yung pakay mo and what the topic would be. And she will quickly be able to assimilate that and give you a response.
Critics have been saying right now that it would be detrimental to have Speaker Arroyo to lead the House under President Rodrigo Duterte. How do you view that, sir?
On the contrary, you could actually see the shift in policy immediately when she assumed office as Speaker. Wala na tayo ngayon mga brash na statements, political in nature. It's work. And ano ba yung problemang fini-face natin ngayon? Inflation. Before she came in, you had the economic managers not even saying anything about inflation. They're aware of it, but what actions to be taken? Didn't hear anything. But when she came in and immediately asked for a briefing for the economic managers to explain the situation, she saw it as an opportunity to give her side, being a former president, having experienced the highest inflation rate prior to our rates now, during her term. She knew what to do. And she's just imparting her knowledge and experience to the present economic managers, which they are very receptive and which they plan to do. Lowering the tariffs on fish, specifically galunggong, which happens to be the president's favorite fish. They're receptive and they will do it. When we go on recess next week, the president, I think, is planning to sign an executive order reducing tariff on fish. Na fish has a very big impact on inflation when it comes to the daily food basket ng pamilyang Pilipino. So, automatic response. We are planning to pass on third reading yung pag-remove ng quantitative restrictions on rice. So, 2 weeks pa lang tayo and we've done so many things as regards solving the problem on inflation. We're even looking at possibilities of lowering the prices of gasoline. So, we are now reviewing yung Clean Air Act and see if we can tweak some provisions there to lower the prices of gasoline for now. Atin naman lang is to give them immediate relief. We're not looking for structural reforms here which have an effect 2 or 3 years from now. We want the effect now. O kung pwede nga yesterday pa eh. So, yun ang kitang-kita mo, ang layo ng diferensya. And I think people are taking notice of this, na her expertise is being used to the hilt at this point in time.
In terms of leadership style, especially in her relationship with the lawmakers, how different are Speaker Arroyo and former Speaker Alvarez?
Well, what I see now is there's constant food in the conference room right beside her office. And it's always full of members of the House, which was, well, I did not see before. She would, from time to time, go in that conference room and converse with the members, assure them that their pet bills are being taken care of, yung personal problems man nila sa distrito nila. She listens to them, takes time to listen to them. She's dealt with them before when she was president. She would call for them in Malacanang or have her secretaries come over here sa Congress. So, she knows a lot of them. She knows yung mga idiosyncrasies nila. She knows yung local politics nila. So, that's a big plus on her side.
Hindi po ito ginagawa ni Speaker Alvarez before?
Personally, on my part, I did not experience that.
Okay. And you think this is a huge difference between them, especially in terms of building rapport, earning the trust and confidence of the members?
Well, let's put it this way. Lahat kami dito sa House are leaders in our own right. And we should be treated as such. No one is, kumbaga, walang boss-boss dito. Everyone here thinks that they're the boss. May nagsabi nga na ang problema sa House lahat gusto propeta, walang disipulo. So somebody has to give way and find a way na kausapin sila and make them feel that they're not alone.
Congressman Andaya, you replaced another veteran as majority leader, si Congressman Rudy Fariñas. You were on opposing sides of the Estrada impeachment trial before, but you have also been allies.
Yes.
How is your relationship now with Congressman
We're okay.
Rudy?
We're okay. Just like before, we're friends and I respect him as an elder. I've learned a lot from him. Kaya lang mas stricto siya. He is from the old school talaga na perfectionist. I may do it more differently, a little looser, less technical. But I think we still get the job done. Pero in terms of yung stricto, by the letter, he's really a stickler for that. Magaling siya sa punto na yan. Until now, he would give me advice on how to handle things on the floor.
You spoke about him giving you advice. Many lawmakers have been saying for a long time that when Alvarez was speaker, it was really Congressman Fariñas calling the shots, talking to the lawmakers. What advice or what are the significant advices that he gave you that you plan or you hope to implement now that you're the majority leader?
Well, for one, he would hold weekly meetings and he'd be in constant contact with the members of the Rules Committee, which I intend to carry through. He has upheld the power of the Rules Committee, and I also plan to continue that. Even yung pagiging strict sa quorum, sa attendance, I plan to follow through with that. Not as strict though, pero still impose or not really force them, but do their part, their obligation to be present sa plenary.
Will you still impose that policy, sir, na sinasara yung plenary doors pagkatapos, pag nagko-quorum call na?
I think
or
we'll
roll
do it
call
differently. We will now make the party leaders accountable for the members. If a particular party should have X number of members present at any given time. So it's really up to them to discuss sino ba yung absent today, sino may lakad ngayon, may meeting. Basta make sure that if you're assigned 20 members should be there.
Will you impose sanctions, sir, on the party that will not follow that?
I've already initially talked to them and they all agree. That's better than locking them in and treat them like children. So mas agree sila ron. And besides, if you close the door and they want to go out, if you hold them in longer than 45 minutes, that's unlawful detainer. Pwede ka na makidnapping doon.
Pero sir, no sanctions for...
No, for now, no. I think let's start with a clean slate na wag muna yung sanctions.
So let's go to the House coup, the controversial House coup last July 23. In one word, what went wrong in the Alvarez speakership? And how did it affect the decision of many lawmakers, including yourself, to replace him?
What started let's say, the crack in the relationship with the speaker, I don't think it's directly attributable to him. When PDP Laban as a party started to grow nationwide, admittedly they were a very small party, and when they started to grow and branch out to different provinces, a lot of the original members who initially joined PDP as a party, and these were the congressmen, because they had to elect Speaker Alvarez as speaker first. So they went on a massive recruitment of members, and they became the supermajority. But after that, when the party started to grow in the provinces, all these original members were left out. A lot of them were not even consulted on meetings. A lot of oath swearing-ins or oath-takings were held without these original members being present or even consulted. Kadalasan yung magkalaban pa sa local level ang kinuha. So they were left out. You know, there's this saying that all politics is local, and if you let go of the local politics or you overlook local politics, you will in the end lose, and in the end you will lose your allies. In a sense, they felt betrayed, they felt left out, and that ballooned, of course, further statements, yung mga, let's say,
no elections,
yung pagboto rin sa death penalty, that just further complicated the issue.
And even the zero budget for the opposition lawmakers, sir. I believe this did not sit well with your colleagues either.
Yes. That was one of the questions asked. What would be the policy now of the new speaker? Those who had, shall we say, zero allocation for the districts. And we were quick to say that there will be no zero allocations for districts.
How did you convince Speaker Arroyo, sir, to finally accept, the call, the clamor of her allies to replace Alvarez? We understand, the rumors have been going on for several months. And
a year.
There was a time in April, I think, that Speaker Arroyo, she was just Pampanga representative at the time, but she said she wasn't interested in the post.
Sure.
How did you convince her, sir?
Actually, I did not convince her. I tried to talk to her about that a year ago, and she flat out said that she was not interested, and she cut the conversation. No further questions were entertained. She just was not interested. And then the night before, she called me up just to tell me to come to office early, around 7 in the morning, knowing that sessions will start at 10. That's too early. I knew then that she has already changed her mind. And when I went inside her office, there were more than 100 members inside. It's like a kind of sardines. Punong-puno ron, and I knew what was going on, and simply asked how many signed, and they told me 161, and that's it.
So you only found out that there was a plan to remove Alvarez on the day of the ouster?
Yes, as regards my part, yeah, the night before was the only time I even knew about it.
Because the impression, sir, is that you were one of the people really behind it because you were the one moving, you're the one who really spoke up kahit walang mic.
I think di namin kailangan mag-briefing na dyan eh. I've been with her for a long time, and minsan lang yung pilantik pa lang na mata niya, alam ko na eh. And I knew she didn't have to ask twice when she told me if I could do this and do that. I said, yes, we'll do it. Let's just make sure na manalo tayo. Kasi if we don't win, God knows, saan tayo pupulutin bukas.
How did you feel, sir, when Speaker Arroyo called you up, you went to her office, and you saw all her allies gathered in one place? Parang going back to memory lane ba? Deja vu ba pinaramdaman mo, sir?
First that came to my mind was, here we go again. Here we go again, another roller coaster ride. But on the lighter side, it's only a 9-month instead of a 9-year roller coaster ride. 9 months lang. So, which I think is a big advantage for her. She can do a lot of reforms through the budget, which is now being discussed, and then improve on the house, the way things are done. She's very quick. She attends committee meetings, and she insists na mabilis yung proceedings. Yung mga technical working group, she wants that done outside. Pagdating mo rin sa committee hearing, passage ka agad. No debates. Diretso siya. She wants complete staff work, just the way she was when she was president. Walang sobrang analysis. Those analyses should be done outside and not before the committee hearings.
Sir, were you able to talk to Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio, because she has reportedly been involved supposedly in lobbying for an Arroyo speakership?
No, I saw her na mismo. She was wearing a blue dress, and nakapag-selfie ako. And that's a keeper na selfie. And that's it. I've never had any instructions from her.
No instructions from her?
No.
Wala rin po, sir, from Ilocos Norte Governor Amy Marcos?
No, just teased her because I could see her from the corner of my eye. When we were holding the proceedings, she kept on clapping her hands. And I teased her about it. Sabi ko, palakpakan ng palakpak. Buti, natapos natin. Kung hindi, baka hindi ka na pumapalakpak ngayon.
Of course, we understand that she was very happy because she has her own local political rivalry with Congressman Fariñas.
All politics is local. All politics is local.
Sir, can you tell us the mood during that thank you lunch that was it Speaker Arroyo who called for that speaker lunch?
Yes.
What was the mood? Ano po yung na-discuss? And paano po yung naging relations between Speaker Arroyo, Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio, and Governor Amy?
Governor Amy was moving around the place, enjoying the company, socializing, having her picture taken with the members. Si Mayor Sara sat beside the president, and they did not talk about politics. They were talking about something else, but definitely not politics. I don't think she even engaged her about what happened the day before. So it was more small. Siguro showbiz pinag-usapan nila kung anong, pero hindi na pinag-usapan politics. It was more, as regards ako, it was more of housekeeping na eh. We were in housekeeping mode, trying to see what we could pass that day, make some administrative changes in the House, sino yung mga nominated as Secretary General, Sergeant at Arms, mga ganon. So we had to discuss those things. We didn't have much time to dwell on what happened the day before.
Sir, down to my last question for today. Now that you are the majority leader and the former president is the speaker, what kind of a House of Representatives can we expect? What can we expect from you in the next couple of months until the end of session?
Well, what I keep saying to the members is make sure you have a lot of coffee in stock. At bumili ka ng maraming katol. They will have a lot of overnight, long nights, maybe overnight pa. Last weekend, the president had a meeting on a Saturday which ended around mga 11 ng gabi with selected members of the House discussing the train law. Sabado na yun. And they ended 11 in the evening. So more coffee and more katol. So that's what we expect. And we hope that would rub off sa lahat ng mga members.
Oh, I know I said that would be my last question, but that you have another follow-up, sir. You've been in politics for a long, long time now. Do you have any plans to run for office again in 2019?
Probably I'll try my luck sa gubernatorial sa province ko, sa Camarines Sur. There have been some suggestions that I use my expertise and my experience in running the province. Maybe I'll give it a shot.
And you will be running, sir, under PDP Laban, or will you join another party?
Well, I'm technically I am NPC on loan to PDP Laban. That is my current situation now. That was the agreement when I came in, that that NPC would lend me to PDP. Parang football team sa Europe on loan. Pinapahiram ka nila. So that is my current status.
So babalik kayo, sir, sa NPC?
I've never lost contact with NPC. In fact, I meet with them every week. So that is a possibility.
Sir, my final
Yes.
question. What kind of legacy, or what legacy do you hope to leave behind as a politician?
Yun lang. I think, not as a politician, as a person lang eh. I just want to be remembered as a funny guy. As a funny guy and a good father and a good friend. Yun naman lang eh. In the end, that's what counts. Even my father, who has been assemblyman, congressman, also part of the executive, people remember him now as a good guy. They don't really remember his title, but they remember him as neighbor namin dati yan, kalaro namin dati yan, kaklase ko yan. Basically, ganun din ang gusto ko.
So follow in your father's footsteps.
Yes.
Right. And thank you so
Thank you.
much, Congressman Andaya, for granting us this interview. Again, that was Congressman Rolando Andaya, the representative of the 1st District of Camarines Sur and the new Majority Leader of the House of Representatives. This is Mara Cepeda. You just joined us for Rappler Talk. Join us again next time.